Anytime Eri is in a chapter of My Hero Academia, the cuteness level of this series just goes up by 10. I love her. She's such an amazing, cute character, and I'm just so glad she wasn't just like a character in one arc and never to reappear again. I really love, ever since the overhaul arc, she's still very relevant to the story. Seeing my girl Eri slowly overcoming her past trauma, seeing her learning to control her quirk very slowly, it's heart-wrenching. It makes you really just want to grab your chest. You're like, this is just too sweet. I want her to be able to progress as a person. And seeing Aizawa constantly watching over Eri, trying to help her out. I mean, let's just look at the setup he did for her. I mean, he brought Monoma to be able to test her quirk out, to just find out exactly, in some ways, how her quirk works, to teach Eri how it works, for she wouldn't freak out too badly. Obviously, it didn't work out too well with Monoma, but even then, though, he brought Monoma there, and to kind of reassure her everything was okay, he brought in Izuku and Togata to be able to watch over Eri, because Eri kind of looks at, Izuku and Togata like brothers, and Aizawa kind of like a papa. So it's nice to see just how much thought Aizawa's put into helping Eri recover. He's just such a good dude. I mean, he's helping out someone like Shinzo, he's helping out Eri. I mean, Aizawa is just such a great character, and it's very apparent after this chapter that Horikoshi is prepping up for a Aizawa arc. I don't know how many of you noticed that, but with the whole name drop of Shirakumo, I think that's the name, with that name drop, and I personally went out of my way to check and see if that name was ever mentioned, and from what I could find, no, it's not. This was the first time the name Shirakumo was ever pronounced or said in My Hero Academia. And if I am wrong, if my research or whatever looking into it wasn't that good, correct me in the comments below. But basically, with the whole name drop of that, and seeing how President Mike and Aizawa's conversation was in that moment, it got very serious. It was a very serious atmosphere, and you can see that whatever happened with Shirakumo, whoever the person was, it's something that really has affected Aizawa. It's something that has changed him as a person, probably the reason why he might even be a teacher. Who really knows why he has given Class A such a big chance since the very beginning of the series, and why he even decided to help out Shinzo. I mean, there's a lot of things that this could be applied to, whoever, Shirakumo is, but it's very apparent that Horikoshi wants to dive into his character more, and I fully welcome that, because Aizawa as a character, he's the homeroom teacher. He's been a big spotlight for a long time, and he's also a character that's very cool, very popular, and does need more time to shine in terms of seeing how his personality is, or how he fights on the field, because his strength is pretty strong. So I do wonder if that is what this chapter was trying to do. I mean, we already know that Horikoshi's been trying to focus a little bit more on the pro heroes. I mean, let's look at Endeavor, let's look at Hawks, and now with this whole little hint at Aizawa, I wonder if we're going to get more to pro heroes and all that going out on the field. Like, I really hope that is the case, because I want more. I want more of it. I really love the Endeavor part of this arc, and I would gladly love to see more characters open and come into the spotlight to be able to take down certain, villains or whatever. But okay, dropping that for a second, who is Shirakumo and what happened? That's a question I want to know. Like, was the person killed? Was the person a dropout that failed the hero course? Was it someone that was a hero, died in battle? Was it, a hero that became a villain? What really happened? Because for President Mike to mention the name, and Aizawa was like, I got something to do after this, and, he got very serious to quickly end the conversation, it was very different from how normally Aizawa acts towards President Mike. Even though, in a lot of ways, their personalities are kind of slightly different from each other, actually vastly different, they do hang out and get along. And for Aizawa to instantly want to drop the conversation and just move on, it stings still. To this day, Aizawa is still plagued by whatever has happened, and he wants to just carry on and completely forget about it. He's repressing it. So, who knows? But, anyways, let's talk about Eri and Monoma. So, Monoma, we get some clarification to how his quirk works, and why One For All did not work when he swiped it from Izuku. So, stockpiling it's a common theme in the My Hero Academia verse, Quirks having the ability to stockpile power in some shape or form. I mean, when you think about this, Sato with his sugar stuff, Sugar Man, he's able to stockpile it, technically the more he consumes. When you think about Fat Gum and how he's able to store his fat to be able to be more of a shield, I mean, when you think about Izuku, I mean, stockpiling isn't anything relatively rare. And so, we found out why he said Izuku was a dud, or why Eri was a dud, was because when he swipes her quirk and he's able to use it, he may swipe the fundamental essence of the quirk, how it works in general, but he's not able to use the full maximum amount of its power because it doesn't also swipe the stockpile, a part of it. So, he would have to build up the strength of it to be able to use a so-and-so quirk. So that's why he calls it a dud, because with his timer of 5 minutes, there's no way that he would be able to probably accumulate enough power in that small of a time frame to be able to use the quirk. So when he's like, oh, Eri's quirk is a dud, he's like, I'm very sorry, Aizawa. It's because Eri's quirk is not used to where she can just use it anytime. She has to build it up with whatever she has to stockpile to be able to use it and rewind things, which, by the way, let's get into that. When we think about Eri's situation, how her quirk works, what we know thus far, we know that her horn on her head grows. When she has her power really going out of control, like if we think about what happened in the Overhaul arc, when she was helping out Izuku being like a backpack lolly, we know that her horn was incredibly large, and she was out of control, reversing things constantly in an area, and it was amazing that Izuku just did not get reversed out of existence. If he wasn't putting so much pain and pressure on himself, he probably would have died like that. So we don't really know what the stockpiling was, and it could be a variety of things, and I want to mention a couple of things that it could possibly be, and if you guys have other theories, let me know in the comments below. But one of the things that it could be duration. For instance, how long she activates or keeps her quirk activated, because let's think about it. When she was using it with Izuku versus Overhaul, it was activated for a long period of time, and it started to really go out of control. And it might just be the longer she has it on, the stronger it gets. It just increases in power slowly. And at that point, when she gets that strong, she can't really shut it off, and that's why Aizawa or someone would have to step in or something, or she would go unconscious, etc., etc. That could be the possibility, that the stockpiling is just the duration of her using it. That's one theory. Another theory, and it might have something to do with her emotional state, because let's think about every time she has used her quirk. Anytime Eri has ever used her quirk in the Overhaul arc, or after that, or anything, it's because of a lot of stress. I mean, let's think about the whole concert moment. When she was watching the concert, her horn grew in size. Now, she wasn't using her quirk, but it did grow in size, which could be linked to emotions. For instance, depending on her emotional state, like stress, happiness, whatever, it could play a huge part in how her quirk stockpiles power. And so it would explain why in that moment when she was going out of control was because she was under so much stress, anxiety, and all that, that it was just making her power go into overload, which would be perfect for Overhaul, because remember, the whole reason why he had Eri in the first place was to be able to utilize her quirk to be able to create those bullets, quirk erasing bullets. So when we think about it, he's constantly put Eri under a lot of stress. I mean, he completely disintegrated her and then reformed her again and all that constantly over and over. So we do know that that was probably very stressful for Eri. She had so much pain that no child of her age should ever have to feel, and so the stress does make sense. He might have known that that's what fuels her quirk. Eri obviously doesn't, because she's just a child and has no idea, but that could be a big part of it. Or it could be something related to, like, sugar or something. I saw someone mention that in, on Twitter to me, saying that basically, what if Eri's quirk is actually based on sugar? Who really knows? I mean, it's interesting to think about. Aries has stockpiling, and that does mean that she's not able to use her power at any given moment. There could be other, core restrictions to her quirk that we are unaware of, which would make perfect sense, because remember what I said about Eri. She is a character that could easily break this series. Like, she's the equivalent, honestly, of, like, Dragon Balls in Dragon Ball Z, because she is literally able to rewind things. And I went into such length in this discussion with Eri's character, I'm not going to get back into it, but she's very broken. And depending on how Horikoshi writes her, could really ruin the series, easily. really destroy the series, or any threat. Like, for instance, completely fix any character that potentially dies or something. So, it's just, she's a scary character for the series in terms of literature or writing because she could be used as a plot device. And what's to say she still won't be used as a plot device, but there needs to be restrictions to her character. And I feel like that's what Horikoshi is starting to set up. That with the stockpiling part aspect attached to her quirk now, it means that she's not able to spam out her rewind capabilities left and right constantly at any given moment, depending on how it works. Now, let's go into the beginning portion of this chapter. So, Bakugo, he is a part of Izuku and All Might's discussion on One for All. I really enjoy that, because it's the first time we've ever seen Bakugo really a part of the discussion, these secret, conversations that, Izuku has with All Might, and I'm just glad to see Bakugo getting filled in and being able to actually help Izuku learn more about his quirk, because Izuku, since now he knows he has multiple quirks with inside of, One for All, he needs to really know how to, access them, use them, and obviously he's still very new, green to the whole thing, and he's not really able to tap into it or use them at all in this chapter, which I think makes probably many fans of My Hero Academia breathe very easy, because we don't want to see Izuku instantly gain all these quirks and just start using them and have full mastery of them. It'd be bad writing, or it would make Izuku just too strong too quickly. And I've discussed this already, so like I said, I'm not getting back into it, but I'm glad that he's not able to really access it. It's kind of like he did a subconscious, limiter on himself, saying that he will finally access that ability when he's able to officially control One for All. And so I'm glad that Bakugo is being used as training exercise to help him out. Which, by the way, I don't know how many people notice this, but Bakugo's relationship with Izuku is just so complex. I mean, we know that they're now official rivals and friends now, and Bakugo's went through so much development. It's unreal how much development he's went through. But seeing how he actually had concern in his, dialogue in this chapter, he was like, it most likely has something to do with All for One, doesn't it? He was able to get to the point and understand that whatever is happening to Izuku is affiliated with All for One, and he was concerned in that moment. It was very clear that Bakugo was concerned for Izuku, worried, and it seemed like he's like, I would have you back no matter what. And it's not just that either. I also like the fact that Bakugo wants Izuku to really master his quirk, because once again, since they're proper rivals, he wants Izuku to be strong. He wants Izuku to be able to use One for All, because if Bakugo's able to beat One for All at maximum capabilities, that's when he knows for a fact that he has surpassed All Might, his objective in a way. So, I like how Bakugo's character is just so developed, and he's still developing and just showing his growth since the very beginning of the story, and you can see it clearly with this chapter. Now, Todoroki's scene. Todoroki and Izuku, a very critical part to this chapter that I think many could easily overlook. Todoroki, as we know, he's went through so much. With his father, his mother, it's been an up and down thing with him. And we know he's been trying to learn his fire side, try to open up and learn more about it, and seeing how he confronted Izuku, he's like, whoa, of all people, you told me that I shouldn't hold back, I should use my fire side, and then I come to find out that you have, another quirk, what's going on here? And I didn't really think about that, honestly. I didn't think about that when Izuku, if he did have more quirks, or now that we know he does, how, someone like Todoroki would feel. Because the entire point of that moment in the story was that Izuku's like, stop holding back. And if Izuku had another quirk and he was actually holding it back, it would literally mean he's a hypocrite. And, Todoroki's, offended by that. So I'm glad that that was confronted, and that he asked, Izuku what was going on there, and Izuku was just straight up was like, hey, dude, I have no idea what was going on. It's an extension of my quirk. It's something that just happened. I don't really know. And so I'm glad there was some honesty there, and that there isn't really any bad blood or bad feelings between the two. And I think that's pretty much about it when it comes to this chapter. I guess the only thing to really talk about is the comedy aspects. Mushroom Girl apparently might be the female version of Mineta, because she was thirsty for Hawks in this chapter. I don't know how many of you noticed that. And oh my god, what's happening to Minato? Like, whoa, Mina, what are you doing to him? Like, what are you doing to my boy? Getting messed up. But okay, I think I want to end this video here. I love you guys. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And with that, be safe. Chibi out.